Let's start working on the little things, the fills, the transitions, and the last 10 to 20% of the project, which sometimes takes 90% of the time. So in the interest of time management, we're just going to whip through some things here and cut some corners just so you can see how to do things, and then you can take that and run with it on your own productions. So first off is this intro. We've got a minute of nothing really. It's just the identical snoring drum loop. So we need to spice it up a bit. The easiest way to do that is to add some fills. And so I'm going to take our snare here, which is basically just 2 hits that's repeated over and over. And I'm going to add in a fill. So we'll just take this one here just before bar 5. And it's as simple as just grabbing this and now I'm no drummer. More often than not, I'll just grab notes, move them around, and hear how it sounds. All right, I'm not too worried about shuffling things around right now or getting some swing or vibe or whatever. I just want to repeat the notes. Just so they're different than the stock standard 2 and 4 hits. Okay, so then we'll do this one. And one there. See how that sounds. Another one there. Just a simple one. And another one there. All right, so I'm doing them basically every 4 bars. They don't have to be like this one, an extra note. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And you don't have to do it every 4 bars as well. This might be overkill when we actually come to listen to it. You might want to do it every 8 or so. All right, so now we've got 32 bars of snare that isn't boring. So we can take, what we should do is I'm just going to grab these and zoom in and join them up. There we go. So now we can use this. We don't have to worry too much about it sounding repetitive. I can stick there, shrink it down. And likewise, I can use that over here, and then even repeat it some more if I want. Okay, so because we did it every 4 bars or so, and so far we've got everything lined up properly without skipping bars or whatnot, then the fills should happen right where we want them to. Now, as for effects and whatnot, we could make our own effects, but that could take a load of time. So maybe we'll make a few, But for the most part, I've been checking out the effects folder here in my generic awesome sample CD. And really, things like white noise and stuff, it might be easier just for us to drag in a sample, do it that way. So we can set up an effects track here. And what I like to do is I'm just going to call this effects 1. I'm going to create a track stack. A summing stack, please. And sure, why not? Drag this one in there as well. And we'll name this effects 2. And I'll put this in my, in the stack. I'm going to call this the effects stack. And what we could do with the effects stack is sidechain that as well. So you get that, you know, that sound. And we'll put the release up to 200-ish. I think that's what it was on the other ones. And we can get our EQ. Just going to load up my super EQ and just drag this up. Because some of these effects, you don't know what you get in them. As far as frequencies, now I'm not too worried about these being in time or having to time stretch these or anything, so we can just leave them as is. Also going to put a limiter on here, just in case. So we've got noise effect there, and then this other kind of whooshy noise effect. What else can we drag in here? Nope. Some long-ish noise. That'll come in handy. Just drag that in there for now. I'll just rename this long noise. This one, short noise. And then impacts are always good. Impacts are usually with the reverbed kick drum or something like that. Yeah, something like this. So we can drag this in. And I'm going to put it on its own channel. I'm not going to put it in here because if you remember, I've EQ'd the low end off this effects stack. I'm just going to call this one impact. And I will put an EQ on here as well, but I will not cut it so high. I'll just cut it around there. And that's so when it does hit, it actually has some bass in it. So I'm going to want to put this probably right here. Maybe that one. Or maybe that one. So this one sounds like, I don't know, they're all pretty similar. But it might be nice to have this one over top of it. Checking to see that these don't have any modulation on them. Alright, sounding We also need maybe have we'll make our own riser. How about that? We need some sort of pitch riser that comes up so we can make our own. Cheated enough. I'm starting to feel guilty. All right, we don't need an audio track, so I can delete that. But what we do need is a synth track. Now, what do we want to make this riser out of? I'll turn on the inspector, the eye, and you could always just use good old ES1. There we go. And you can do it in multiple ways. You can do it with envelopes or you can do it with pitch bend. I think we'll probably just do it with pitch bend. So it's just as easy as doing that. So we'll adjust the bend range up to an octave or so, or maybe even 24 because we want to go crazy. Okay, and then we'll figure out some sort of sound here that'll sound good pitched up. Maybe a chorus on it. Bump that up so it sounds a bit walky. We'll do that so we don't have the crazy sub on it. It's nice to have that little bit of hiss though from the resonance, so we'll leave that on. And we could almost just do this playing a chord like that. So what I'll do is this one's probably gonna be 2 is 16. How should we do an 8? Maybe we'll do an 8 bar. An 8 bar rise. So pencil tool, click in there, and we'll stretch, whoops. Stretch this out, get my pointer back. Stretch that out to be 8. And make sure it ends bar 33. Then we can go in here and zoom out so we see the whole region. Since we're in the key of A, we'll just play an A. And then maybe one of those as well. No. Maybe an octave. And then we go over here and we select our pitch bend. And I can hold down the command key, get my little pencil tool up again, and I'll click to create a node and create another node. And it's as simple as doing this. Now we might want to have a MIDI. Oops. Come on. No MIDI curves today. Now, I want this to reach the top note probably at 31. So we get the effect of it just kind of hanging at the top note, and then boom, and then it'll drop. So we will put a compressor on it. Yep, compressor. Do the old BCA one. Crank that up, down. That's about 200-ish. And sidechain. why those took a little while to kick in, but they did. And then we EQ this. And we're going to need some other effects. I mean, we'll probably get a reverb, platinum verb. Probably make it fairly big. Then a little modulation. What haven't we used so far? We haven't used this plugin. This is basically just a fancy auto panner, as you can hear. So we don't want to do that too much. That's getting better. And it does need. Try a little overdrive. I'm going to move the compressor down there, and I'm going to put in a filter, the auto filter. Now, there's a few things that I'm thinking we could do, and one of them is high passing it as it gets near the top. So, fat this a little bit, just have to go like this, and then automate this. Right, something like that. So we can do that once we start throwing in automation. But for now, we're just going to call this pitched riser. And let's go here and name regions by track name. Okay, so there's our pitched riser, or one of them. And we'll close down the piano roll. Now we're also going to need a an up whoosh. So this one, I was thinking of taking one of these and just reversing it, but we might as well just make our own. So we'll make, that does a good noise. Might as well just use ES1. Like that. Come on, down to noise. Okay, so I've just put the sub all the way down and then selected noise down there. And it's just as easy as automating it like that. I'm going to put this in our effects stack. I name this, whoops, pressing all sorts of keys there. All right, MIDI. Noise riser. This one, we'll throw some delay on there. We get a tape delay. And trim the mids and the highs, or sorry, the lows and the highs. And maybe we'll make it eighth note, or eighth triplets. Crank up the feedback a little bit. I want the full dry signal to come through and a whole bunch of the wet as well. Done. And then since it's going into the effect stack already, we don't need to put a compressor on it because it'll already be sidechained. So we're just going to EQ off the real ugly bits because being that it's just white noise, you get everything. So we cut that, and then we don't want the piercing stuff. We probably want to get rid of some mid stuff as well. Done. And finally, turn it down a smidge. So we don't have it as high as this one here, as far as frequency range. But it's more than functional. Like that, right? So we could do that during the pitch riser as well. So let's do that. Let's just add a bit of white noise with our riser as well. Here, and it doesn't really matter what note we play, so I'll just stick a C. And then shrink that back down again. And then we can go and automate the cutoff. So to get into automation, you just press A. I'm going to select it here. I want the ES1 cutoff, please. And I can just easily bring this down a bit. Click there, drag it up, and put a curve in it. So all I've done there is I basically reversed the automation. So we're going up and then down. It's there. Okay, so we've got some effects in there for the intro bit anyways, and we'll continue to work on it in the next video.